Julie ready to go?
Are you kidding? Hey, you want to play hockey? We got a new TV scoreboard game from Radio Shack.
Sure.
Radio Shack's fast-action TV games. Play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy hookup to any TV.
I'm ready.
A great gift idea.
The Radio Shack TV Scoreboard. Released in 1976, this console was developed by Tandy and distributed exclusively by Radio Shack. Even more interesting is the TV Scoreboard is considered to be of the very first generation of video game consoles, a predecessor to the Nintendo and even the Atari. While the games are rather simplistic in concept, using monochrome lines and dots to represent titles like tennis and hockey, the controls are somewhat more complicated. Switches represent game type and ball speed, and knobs are the only true input device for the left and right player, otherwise known as player 1 and 2. It's hard to imagine with the incredible graphics and particle effects of today's games that something as simplistic as the TV Scoreboard would catch anyone's attention. But considering that this was actually one of the first true gaming consoles to market, it also became the first exposure some people ever had to the world of video games. This particular iteration of the Scoreboard came with one very interesting accessory that may shock you. A rather realistic looking revolver. Take a close look. It is only plastic, but at a distance could you truly tell? Nowadays you won't see a light gun, or any toy gun for that matter, that looks as real as this. Due to the Federal Toy Gun Law of 1988, imitation firearms in the US must be brightly colored and have the manufacturer's stamp present on the item. The law has since become even harsher with heavier fines for any distributor of a realistic-looking toy gun. This was perhaps the first console accessory ever produced, and showed some true ingenuity on the part of the producers of the console. I'd explain how this particular TV Scoreboard revolver works, but I am a bit lost on the idea myself. It's a piece of gaming history that truly encapsulates how, just like the Hollywood cinema, video games have grown and changed quite dramatically from their original incarnations. Due to when this console came out, the TV Scoreboard uses a different kind of TV adapter, certainly not HDMI. The prongs would hook directly to the television and transmit the image. This won't work for today's flat-screen plasma TVs, so we have to use a little ingenuity to get it to work. We plug in the AC adapter and connect it to the Scoreboard console. From there, we connect the Scoreboard cable to the switch box. Now we need a special converter, which changes the signal from the prongs, which is then screwed in place. Borrowing an RF adapter from an original Nintendo system, we can plug that into the converter. Finally, we can screw the NES RF switch into the television. Time to turn it on, and amazingly, it works. Well, almost. The years have certainly worn down the connections, and it certainly wasn't designed for this type of television. However, after a little bit of tweaking, the console works. As for the Revolver, it didn't really seem to respond, which comes as no surprise. These kinds of accessories were designed for TVs of a different time, and given that it's in such good condition, it does probably work, but without an older TV, we'll never know. I was lucky enough to find this interesting piece at a Goodwill for $10 and gave it a thorough cleaning. With the box, documentation, and the console in working order, the Radio Shack TV Scoreboard can go for an average of $35 to $55. Now we travel 9 years into the future to 1985 and the release of the Nintendo Entertainment Console, which came pre-packaged with the Nes Zapper Light Gun. Certainly more advanced in technology, with the capability to recognize changes in light signals and zones of effect from the TV. Even so, like the Radio Shack Revolver, the light gun still suffered from problems of inaccuracy. The Zapper was originally released in the US with a gray barrel and hilt. However, as was previously stated, the federal toy gun law meant that Nintendo had to change its color scheme to the more recognizable orange color. This has made the original gray hilt Zapper rarer in the market, and while not impossible to find, it is considered to be the more sought after. The irony is that the Japan version of the NES Zapper looked very similar to that of the TV Scoreboard accessory, having a more realistic look. Nintendo has had many iterations of the light gun throughout its history. For the NES it was the Zapper. For the Super Nintendo it was the Super Scope. Then with the release of the Wiimote itself became the light gun, which Nintendo tried to capitalize on with the Wii Zapper, which somewhat resembles a Tommy gun. I was able to find both versions of the NES Zappers at a yard sale for 50 cents each, but unfortunately the gray version was missing the cords. So that means time for a little surgery.
Now you're playing with power.
Hey Retro fans, I'm RetroMackiees and thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and share this video with your friends, classmates, and family members. It would be totally awesome to hit 50 subscribers by the end of the year, so let's get the word out. That's just a little over 10 subscribers, which is not a lofty goal, so I know we can do it. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button already, I implore you to give the channel a shot. I promise you won't be disappointed. A very special thank you to Chuck, Glenda, and Dawn for your help with this episode. Love you guys, you rock, God bless, take care, and see you on the next find.